In 1897, the Kingdom of Joseon, that stood for 505 years, was dissolved. In its place, the Korean Empire was symbolically formed, with the Empire of Japan forcing imperial ambitions onto it. The Korean Empire only lasted until 1910, when it was formally abolished, and Korea became a colony. The royal family that ruled over Korea for 5 centuries suddenly became powerless, and as time passed, they faded from modern history. However, many people are unaware that the royal family still exists today, and some are working hard to keep the culture of Joseon alive. Naturally, with a turbulent history and fractured family lines, the question of a theoretical successor is raised. Between a failed dynasty, possible colonial cooperation, and a delicate political climate, the answer proves to be tricky. So today, let's answer the question of, who would theoretically be King of Korea today? Before discussing anything regarding a theoretical monarchy, it is important to state the fact that South Korea is a republic that is ruled by fair elections and popular vote. The Joseon-era monarchy holds no influence or power in the decisions of the South Korean government. However, the former royal family plays a role in keeping Korean traditions alive in the form of rituals, ceremonies, and traditions. All of these people can trace their lineage to one person centuries ago. King Taejo, who was a general in Korea's Goryeo Dynasty, overthrew its king in 1392 and installed himself as the king of his newly formed Joseon Dynasty. Joseon ruled for centuries with Confucian ideology that exists to this very day. The framework he set created the foundations for 27 kings that ruled until 1897. Of those kings, by far the most famous is King Sejong, who created Hangul, the modern Korean language script, advancements in technology, and strong centralized government. His influence was massive, and it is still actively celebrated today. The last king of Korea was King Gojong, who ruled as king from 1852 to 1897. He ruled during a turbulent time of foreign interference, class rebellion, and mass corruption among his people. This is where we will start the deep dive into a discussion of who would theoretically be monarch of Korea if it were to ever exist. Keep in mind we will only discuss children who survived infancy and who could actually make a claim to a theoretical throne. Starting with King Gojong, he had an estimated 10 total children, including the Crown Prince Sunjong, who was born to his queen, Myeongseong, often referred to as Queen Min. In addition to him, 3 others were born to his concubines, including Egang, Eun, and Deok. Towards the later years of Gojong's life, Imperial Japan had forced influence onto Joseon and slowly began taking it over. Gojong greatly opposed this and made efforts to stop it along with Queen Myeongseong. The queen began to seek help from the Russian Empire, and this eventually caused her assassination in 1895. In 1897, under pressure to save Joseon from foreign influence, Gojong declared himself emperor as he established the Korean Empire in the place of Joseon. Japan forced the Korean Empire into a protectorate, and to combat this, Gojong sent a secret envoy to the Second Hague Peace Conference in 1907. This was intercepted by the Japanese, and they forced Gojong to abdicate the throne. In his place, the crown prince, Sunjong, became emperor. Emperor Sunjong was married to Empress Sunmyeong, but they had no children. The Korean Empire was annexed by Japan in 1910, and the royal family no longer held any official legal standing in Korea. The true royal line of the Korean Empire ends here. Because of this, we have to look at Gojong's other children if we were to find a true theoretical heir to the throne. During the Korean Empire, the line of crown prince succession went from Sunjong to Eun. This was because his mother was a higher-ranking consort, and also because he had been raised in Japan and was easier to influence and integrate into the Japanese imperial family than his siblings. Eun had 2 children, Jin, who died in infancy, and Gu. Gu was the next in the line of succession, but he married the foreigner Julia Mulloch, and they had no blood children. Upon Gu's death in 2005, this line of Korean royalty also dried up as well. So, we have to return back to Gojong's children. It is important to note that Princess Toke had married a Japanese aristocrat count, whom she divorced, and had one daughter, but she died in 1956, and that line also dried up. She wasn't allowed back into Korea until 1962, where she lived until she died. This possible line also ended here. The bulk of the remaining Korean royals is found in Gojong's last surviving son, Egang. He had many that could carry on the royal house. It is here where you will find the theoretical successors. First, let's look at Egon. He was the oldest of Egang's surviving sons, but his history, political views, and marriage caused him to lose support. He was married to a Japanese, and following World War II, Egon naturalized as a Japanese citizen. This invalidated any claims to the Korean royal family. Next is Ii-woo. He also served in the Japanese imperial military during World War II, but despite Japanese efforts to integrate him into the Japanese imperial family, he refused and married a Korean instead. He is believed to have assisted the underground Korean resistance fighters while maintaining his public appearances as a Japanese officer. He was killed in 1945 during the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, but his son, Ii-chung, has donated many Korean royal heirlooms to the Seoul Museum of History, despite not working with other former royals, is technically one of the possible successors. Ii-gon was recognized as the successor to his father, but he lived a relatively quiet life in comparison to his siblings. As South Korea developed, he worked hard as a citizen and was unfortunately killed in a car crash in 1984. His son Ii-jun, however, plays a large role in the symbolic role of the royal family today. He serves as the chairman of the Royal Foundation of Korea, which works to give visibility to Joseon, the Korean Empire, and descendants of anti-Japanese movement freedom fighters through various events, lectures, and exhibitions. He does not actively advocate for the restoration of the monarchy in any form, but merely supports teaching new generations about Korean history and preserving Korean historical culture. He is also technically eligible for a theoretical succession. By far the most visible member of the former royal family in recent years is Lee-seok. He has heavily advocated for a constitutional monarchy similar to that of the United Kingdom. With his many media appearances, he has certainly become well known in Korea. He is the oldest living grandson of King Gojong, and allegedly many modern portraits of historical Korean royals like King Sejong are based on his face. His claims to a theoretical throne are dismissed by the Jeonju-Lee Royal Family Association, to which there is perceived tension. He has no son, so he formally adopted Andrew Lee, an alleged distant relative and business tycoon from California. No one knows Andrew Lee's actual connection to the royal family, and despite claims, he is not seriously considered an actual claimant to a theoretical successor. A rather peculiar situation occurred in 2006, when Egang's daughter, Lee Hae-won, unilaterally declared herself Empress of the Korean Empire, with a ceremony in a hotel convention hall. By rules of male-only primogeniture, this was not recognized by any of the royal family members. She passed away in 2020. Lee-kap is the last of Egang's children to carry significant influence in the portrait of royal pretenders. He lived much of his life living and working in the United States and passed away in 2014. His son, Lee-won, plays a much larger role, however. Being a relatively far-flung relative of commonly known potential royal title claimants, he was brought forward on the deathbed of direct claimant Ii-gu. Because of his lack of an heir, Ii-gu moved to formally adopt Ii-won as his heir, and it was formally approved by the Jeonju-Lee Royal Family Association. However, Ii-gu died before the legal adoption could take place, and it left his status in limbo. Despite this, Ii-won is formally recognized as the royal heir to carry out the duties of ancestral rites at the annual Jongmyo-daeje. This was traditionally only performed by kings and emperors, so symbolically, Ii-won is the symbolic heir to the Korean Empire. Despite being gone for over 100 years, there is still contention on who should symbolically carry the Korean throne. While there is little interest with the general Korean public to restore the monarchy, the royal family still plays an important role in preserving traditional Korean culture and history, regardless of public support today. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more videos just like this.